Okay. Okay, so I'm still reading my 21 Irrefutable Laws. I'm almost done. It's taking me longer than I would like to finish it, but my chapter yesterday was on priorities. So the very beginning of this workbook says leaders understand that activity is not necessarily accomplishment. Now, I know you guys know this, but this is a battle every single day that we jump on Facebook, right? Because the notifications are popping up. I have my to-do list. If I'm focused on that to-do list, I can seriously have it done in like less than 30 minutes. I can have it, I can check in my challenge groups, I can comment on their stuff, I can XYZ like so fast. But if I'm scatterbrained or I'm clicking on the notification, then I get a text, and then my husband's in the room. It actually kind of bugged me yesterday. He was in the room and he was we're going to Italy in May, and he was booking our plane tickets, and he's like, hey, what's your Delta Sky Miles number? And I'm like, oh, like that little like interruption literally cost me, because my brain got out of what I was, right? I had to look up my Sky Miles number, which really only took me 2 or 3 minutes, but then because I couldn't remember my login, but then like to get my brain back into the mode of where I was, I probably wasted 10 minutes, right, with that one thing alone, just because I got out of sync, right? So reading this chapter about priorities is really good to think about balance with your family, right? And your cute little girl behind there. But it's really important with balance with your family, but also making sure that you are doing the most important activities first, which is like the eat that frog thing, right? Like what is the one thing that you put off that would change everything if you did it first? For me, that was inviting. I totally avoided inviting because it took brain power. It took I give a lot when I'm messaging people. I'm connecting, I'm relating, I'm asking questions. I'm very connectable. Like I'm treating them as a friend. And when you're doing that with 20 people, it can be kind of tiring, and it just takes a lot out of me. So I would avoid it because it was hard for me, even though the actual act of doing it wasn't hard. It was like emotionally hard for me. That sounds really dumb, but I don't know. Can you guys do you feel like when you're giving, it can be tiring? So I would avoid it because it was so tiring. And so making sure that your priorities are in line, and that you guys literally, when I set a timer, I'm so much more efficient when I'm in like a zone for 30 minutes instead of like 2 minutes here and 2 minutes there. Or like this morning, well, I used to, every morning when I woke up, I used to scroll Instagram to help me wake up. Worst idea ever, okay? I would sit on there for like 40 minutes because time flies when you're scrolling through Instagram. And I finally started putting my phone in my bathroom because my phone's my alarm. So I finally started putting it in my bathroom so that I have to walk to get it. And so that I'm up out of bed, I'm already awake, and I just immediately go get my clothes on. Instead, like I broke that habit of scrolling through Instagram because I was seriously wasting 40 minutes, starting my workout 40 minutes late. And the difference that makes before my kids are awake is crazy. It's a crazy difference when I'm up late or when I'm starting late. So anyway, thinking about where your priorities are, family first, whatever your priorities are, and then scheduling around it. Today I was trying to get in the shower, and this dumb thing is like the biggest distraction ever because I'm getting texts, and then my husband's talking to me, and then I'm like, if I could just freaking focus on getting in the shower, I could be in and out in 5 minutes. But what was supposed to take me 5 minutes took me 30 minutes because I was so distracted. And more often than not, it's this. It's my phone. It's a text or a notification, which I actually don't have notifications on my phone, but it's me deciding to jump on Instagram or deciding to jump on Facebook. And we waste so much time when we do that. So think about your priorities, think about your time management, because I know it's a huge issue for most of us. And I swear the busier you are, the more you get done. Because when you have time to waste, then you waste it. Well, I think we're all like that. So I actually just scaled back my hours. I used to be pretty open with how long I was working. And my husband's been studying the last few weeks for a course he's taking. And I'm getting more done in a smaller amount of time just because I only have this much time instead of this much time. And so I'm cramming stuff in faster. Ashley and I were just talking about, Ashley, unmute yourself and say what we were talking about, because I think I liked what you said about it, what Shalene said.
So Shalene Johnson, she had her most recent podcast. She's something about creating systems or time-saving tips. I can't remember what it's called, but she was talking about creating systems for everything and how it's like changed her life, and how she can delegate. She can even delegate like her grocery shopping because she's created a system for it. And she was just talking about how much time she saved up or freed up. But I guess what inspired me to think of that was when Christy was talking about her like Excel sheet in our last call, how she has everything all just organized and she knows when she's going to post it. Just having it out there and written down just frees up your mind. And then Tiffany, you were saying, you know, how just like who is it? Lauren,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How she just started taking over these tasks because she finally started to like iron it out. And that what you said stuck with me, and I was trying to remember how you said it because I was about to try to write it down. If they can do it 80% as well as you, then delegate it.
Delegate it. Yeah. So I know you guys aren't necessarily hiring help right now, but something to think about, because this is really silly, but crazy to think about. So my coach, before she quit, she had never hired help. She was making $5,000 a month, which is ridiculous to not hire help, right? Like I hired help before that. But she was very successful making a large amount of money, which they didn't need the money. So it was just like sitting there and extra play money or whatever, I guess. And she didn't hire any help and she burned out. And I remember, Jenna, you asking this a while ago about how does this work as you get busier, but you don't want to spend the time and you can't quit your job yet, or if you never can, or whatever, however it works. How do you do this? Like, how do you guys, I didn't want to be a coach 24/7. I still don't. I had one of my coaches texting me after hours today, after my hours that I decide. And I had to tell her I couldn't talk because I'm sticking to my priorities and what I've told my husband I'm doing. But basically, when my coach didn't hire any help, that's why she burned out, because she was doing everything herself. And I don't know where I read it, if it was John Maxwell or I think it's Danny Johnson in a CD series I'm listening to called 6 Figures in 6 Months. She says, if someone else can do it 80% as effective and well as you can, you should be delegating it. So I'm not saying you should be delegating stuff right now. However, think of it this way. I was just telling Ashley. So I hired an assistant about a year ago, and I gave her a few small things to do. She does my recognition. So when Maite went Emerald last week, she texted me and said, Maite went Emerald. She checks my back office for me. And I said, okay, this is what I want to say about her. So I write the actual wording and I send it to her, but she puts the image together, she puts the picture together, and she posts it for me. So that's what I gave her to do at first. And I was starting to burn out again about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. And my success partner said, she's the one that told me, the first one, if they can do it 80% as well as you need to delegate it. So I started having Lauren, and then this is going to seem simple, right? Because this is what my coach used to tell me. It's only going to take me 5 minutes, Tiffany. It's only going to take me 5 minutes. So I thought, okay, only 5 minutes. Well, when you have 90 tasks to do that are 5 minutes long, it adds up. And when your brain has to focus on it and worry about it and stress about it, it adds to even more time. So what I just told my husband tonight, I said, what's making a huge difference for her, what I delegated to her, you guys are going to laugh because it's so simple. When I have a team call, when you guys see those events created in the team page, she does that. She'll go in my Zoom account, she'll schedule the call, which takes maybe 30 seconds, and then she will go into my 3 groups and post an event saying we're having this call. That's all she does, and I'm not kidding you. It saves me. First, it takes the stress off my back. Second, I don't have to even worry about it. I know she's going to show up. She's going to create the event. She's going to schedule my call. So all I have to do for a team call is hit join, right? That's it. I don't have to do anything else. Join, because she's done everything for me. And it maybe took her 10 minutes max, not even that long, and I pay her $15 an hour. So I'm just giving you guys that as an example for as you start to grow, little things. You guys could probably pay somebody $15, like for 1 hour a week. She only worked for one of my coaches. She was putting in like 2 hours a week for her. So my coach was paying her $30 a week to schedule out posts for her and stuff. And she was paying very minimal amount of money for something that was a huge return because it took stress off of her. She didn't have to worry about it. And she didn't have to go in and do the little tiny detail of it. So just keep that in mind as you guys do this longer. 80% as good as you, delegate it. That's my tidbit.
And like exactly with what we were saying, Shalene Johnson, she talks about in her podcast. You should all just go listen to this podcast. But she talked about how laundry was the thing for her. It was like the catalyst. It was the thing that would keep her from accomplishing her most important tasks that were actually going to build her business and help her grow.
Exactly.
And so as soon as she delegated those things, like she had somebody come in, she said she committed for 2 weeks to have somebody come in to help with the laundry, because laundry was a thing. Like she felt like she had to have it done before she could sit down and get in her zone. And so whatever your thing is, mine is the deep cleaning. So I have somebody come in, and I can't even really afford it, but it's like I've been so much more productive in all of these different tasks that I've had laid out that are super important for my frogs. I've actually been able to tackle them more because I've had somebody to help me. So I had to look at it like as an investment, as a business investment, essentially, because you have to have your mind in the right place and relieve all that stress off your shoulders before you can be more productive. So the whole call, she talks about how she just saves more time because she's been able to delegate these things.
Yeah, it's time and it's stress. And exactly like you said, what builds our business? Our business is built on inviting, finding new people to talk to, right? The 3 vital behaviors is really those essential things that we need to be doing every single day. Not me scheduling my Zoom call, not me checking my back office and doing recognition. Those all affect my business like in the big picture, but not directly. So she says, spend more time doing what actually directly affects your business and less time with like the fluff that will come along the way as you guys grow and as you guys continue doing this. So I know for you guys, some of you guys might be like, oh my gosh, I'm not hiring anybody like in the next 10 years. But I promise you, you will start to get more overwhelmed and you will start to earn more money, and you can start delegating very small things like, hello, creating an event for me in a group. That's it. This is silly too, closing out groups on Facebook. She does that for me. She'll go delete all the people out of it, close the group out. Sounds simple, but that's one more task that you're doing on a regular basis, right? She'll open my challenge group for me and add the participants, which sounds so simple, but when you start listing off all the things I have to do, those little things make the biggest difference. Seriously. Okay, on that note, for future ideas or current, if you decide, does anybody have any questions or anything they want to talk about? Heather, you did an awesome job.
Ugh. I felt like I was like.
I hope you guys didn't spend too much time on that. When she was like, we're working on content, I was like, oh gosh, I hope you guys aren't spending time.
No, in fact, I was kind of reassuring her not to spend so much time.
Okay, good.
I just sat down 15 minutes before the call and like jotted down all my ideas, but we like talked about it earlier. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of followed a list of items to talk about.
I have a question for you, Heather.
I wasn't sure if it was helpful.
I have a question for Heather.
Oh, yeah. Good.
So you were talking earlier about the timing, and you said it really fast. And so if you could write down what you said, and I want to know who you target, because like I have been experimenting with different boosting like posts or whatever, but I just like you have been thinking like there's a particular time of day where I should go in and pause it, but because of how I've got myself set up like business hours wise, like I don't touch it until like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But I feel like there's been a dead time. Like I've gotten messages up till like 10 a.m. Central Time. And then I go in at like 1 and, nobody's really messaged me within that time. And so you could re-explain or write down or post it in a group or something, what you said earlier about like your dead times, like what you feel like your dead times are that you pause it during.
Yeah.
That would be great because it totally went over my head again.
Sorry, I do talk fast. And when I'm nervous, I talk even faster.
You better
I
be
know how that goes.
So I like to start it right before bed, but I go to bed late, especially lately. So I usually start it around 10:30, but I'm in Mountain Standard Time. And then I paused it at about 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I probably could have let it go another hour because of California, like those people. But I got a lot of East Coasters this time. At least that's what I felt like. Because I woke up to 20 messages at like 6 or 6:30 in the morning. So I just said, I'm going to pause it. I'm happy with my results. You know, I'd only spent like $20 and I'm like, I'm happy with those results anyway. So I'm just going to pause it. And then that night before I went to bed, I was like, what the heck? I'll run it one more night and see. And so I started it again just before bed. Maybe that day I did do it a little earlier. It might've been like 9 or 9:30. And then I ran it until the morning again. And I could have run it longer, and I wished, in fact, I like running it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and running it for those morning hours. And I feel like I still don't even spend my budget. So I will put my budget super high. So Facebook sends it out. I swear, like they send it out to different people. You know what I mean? Like buyers, people who actually would be inclined to buy, because it was so different. I didn't get like, how much does it cost? Nearly as much.
And because they see that it's sponsored. This is my theory. They see that it's sponsored. And so they automatically know when they're messaging about it that it's something they might have to invest something into. So I only had out of this last, I seriously got, I think 2 weeks ago, I ran an ad and I got over 150 and I spent 150. And that was a lot. That was like everything I made the week before. Like I spent everything. I was like, I'm going to try this. And I think you're right. Like Facebook saw that. And most of those 150 messages were that first day, the majority of them. So if I had just paused it, once I hit like 100, I don't think I would have already spent, I would have only spent $80. Does that make sense? And so that was what I saw. And the other thing that I decided is that I do need to pause it because I can't possibly do that again to myself, because I was seriously working so hard that I could not even think straight.
Exactly.
That's exhausting. That's so tiring. That's where I was too. That's why I stopped messaging new likes, because I was doing that forever ago. And I was getting every time I would log in, I would have 60 messages in my inbox of just people like, blah, 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 blah. Like, good, I wanted to get to know people, but it was exhausting. Like, I couldn't do it. I was so tired. I was like,
were you paying the $1 to get it into their inbox, or were you just getting the responses from whoever checks their other folder?
Responses, but then it would compound, right? I'd send out 50 messages and then people would start returning. It was the compound effect. It wasn't like everybody I messaged that day emailed me back. It was like, as I was consistent with it, eventually I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it.
Yeah. That's an activity I started and stopped within the same month. So yeah.
I know. I hear people say that a lot. Like, I'm going to message the people on my page, and I'm like, I would rather build the relationship on the page. I don't know. I feel like then you're actually talking to people who are on your page. I guess it goes both ways. It's a good thing, but I think most people most of my diamonds, we all did it at one point and we all stopped within a couple months because it was just exhausting and not returning anything. And I'm sure it would eventually, but.
So I've kind of said it. So this is another question for you guys. Sorry. And then I promise I'll shut up so other people can ask questions. But so when you're following up with these people, I've kind of set myself a limit at following. I just follow up one time and that's it. I follow up. So I ran the ad last week for this week, for Friday. And
for a challenge group?
For a challenge group. And I just decided to start my groups on Fridays because Mondays was too hard for me. So because that gives me the whole weekend to get it done by Monday. So I've noticed that doing it the last couple of times actually worked better for me because of who I'm targeting, I guess. I don't know, because we're all frazzled and it's easier to think on Saturday. And so anyways, so I started it and I started creating the group on Fridays, and that's anyways. So how many times do you follow up? I usually give it a week and then I'll follow up like today and tomorrow I'm following up for the group starting Friday. But what do you find works best?
For me or for Tiffany? Who are you asking? Oh, anybody? I'm a follow-up queen. In my real estate office, I'm known as the one who follows up. So like I come from the mindset of most people are interested, but they're busy. So when you come from that mindset, my messages, I think, communicate that and less pushiness. That's what I hope, at least. Because I'm like, if it were me, I'd go, oh, yeah, I totally want to do that. And then I would have my kids or whatever, and I wouldn't do it. So I'm like, as my child comes out from her bed. So I think that's where my come from is. So what I did is I messaged all of them, and I said, hey, this worked for me. I said, hey, my group is full, which was a total lie. My group is full. In other words, it's too late for you to order and get your challenge back in time. So my group is now full, and I opened another group because there's been so much interest, which I did. I had 49 people, and so I was trying to just get them to order. But in hindsight, it was my fail in starting my group. The boosted post I started on Tuesday, Wednesday. I didn't have enough time, basically. Sorry, I didn't have enough time until my group started. So I was hurrying to try to hit Success Club. Said, oh, I'll launch a group. I know it's a little bit not enough time. I think I did it Wednesday, Thursday, and that left me like 9 days until my group started. It just wasn't enough. So that was my issue of how I handled it. So people didn't order in time, and they knew they didn't order in time and just went, oh, I missed the group. So that was my poor planning. But I did message people, and I got a ton of response, and people that only went to I started with step 2 with these people. So they were only at step 2. I asked them the questions. I responded and I said, hey, I hope I didn't overwhelm you with those questions. They're actually super helpful for me to understand where you're at so I can make a good recommendation. So I probably followed up on the stage 2 people twice, and it was effective. I got several people to step 5 by doing that. And then the people that were at step 5. Oh, sorry.
Before you keep going, so you prioritized them by the step they were on. So you probably followed up with the people that were furthest along first.
Yes.
Okay. That's the system I was creating right now. I just wanted to know if it was successable because
yeah,
my brain is just fried.
Well, what I did, if I can show my screen, I can show you how I categorized it, but it helped me I'm a visual person. So I did it in Excel, and I tracked what day of the ad, because that was helpful for me. I'm an analytical mind. So what day, and then what stage they were at, and whether they messaged me or left a comment. I wanted to see if the people who left a comment and said, yeah, I'm super interested, and I even paid the $1, if they were going to move on. That would be helpful for me going forward, whether I continue to pay the $1 or not. You know what I mean? Because they didn't take as much energy to send a message. They just set a comment up. So that
it's the emerald in Heather.
Yes.
Yeah. So see, and I've just been commenting and tagging people underneath, like, just please inbox me, please message me, yada, yada, yada. And oh my goodness, I'm tired of doing that. But I mean, I felt like the people that were interested actually did message me. And I did get a little bit further along with those people when they commented below, and they were like, pick me. And then I got a lot more sincerity and out of those people. Actually, I've had a couple challenge group sales from them versus like the hundreds of messages that I got, which I cannot, like, guys, the numbers sound amazing. They sound wonderful, but when you have 4 kids, it's like ridiculously unrealistic. Yeah. So I just can't do that again. But I really liked that I got to Success Club 8, like by the beginning of the month. And I was like really excited about that. So I might create a system where, yes, I do that. And like what Heather, you're saying, I'll pause it, I'll start it so that I can pace it over like maybe 2 or 3 days, because I loved those results, but I've got to figure out a way to do it so I'm not burning out, and so that I'm still a mom those 3 days.
Yeah, totally.
Well, that's why I delegated that eventually too. I mean, really, as you get busier, you're just going to want to start delegating more and more. But remember too, Facebook loves change. So if I word things similar from one post to the next on a similar, like on a challenge group or on coaching at a glance, eventually they're seen by less and less and less organically. So I try to change wording up, pictures up, which is a little bit hard to do, but they like that. They do not like repetitive pictures or repetitive wording. I don't know why, but they are.
Last question. Promise. Yeah. You said pictures. Do you get more off of the pictures where it's like your family and you, or do you get more off of like where somebody actually working out, like, or whether it's you or somebody else?
Honestly, it depends for me. I've had great results. One time I did a coaching at a glance group and showed a picture of my family, and it did phenomenal. And I've tried the same picture or similar other times, and it doesn't do well. I've done stock photos of just like a happy person, and that does well. I've done fit. I just try to have variety, because unless you hire a social media manager that knows social media in and out, and they keep up on all the rules and all the algorithms of Facebook, or you're studying it constantly, for me, it's like a crapshoot. I'm just like, I'll try this picture today and see how it does. Like that's partially why we don't do a ton on like pages, because I'm not a social media expert. I'm really not.
It's really just convening, like converging ideas, and then it depends. Yeah. I really feel like it has to do a lot more with your target audience. Like the more that I've learned, I did Sandy Krakowski last year. I've like listened to several other people's seminars, and I've learned that it really, you got to think, like you said it in the call in January, you've got to think like yourself. Like you've got to, like, how would you like to see it? And if you're targeting yourself, then you're going to be successful in the long run.
Right. What would you click on? What would you respond to? What would you go message someone about if you saw it?
Yeah.
Okay, Joni, Maite, and Jenna, you've all still been muted. You guys can unmute yourselves after I just like it to be quiet while I do the little beginning part, and then you guys can you guys have anything you want to talk about really quick?
Just one question.
Yeah.
Just before you go to boost your post, one thing that I've learned from Sandy Krakowski is that you have to make it most effective. You have to have your reach quite up, and my page right now is kind of low, and I've been trying to just up the page engagement before I go and boost a post, just to make the most of it. Is that like how do you guys deal with that? Do you just boost it anyways and just hope that it goes okay, or do you wait?
I do, because if I'm paying, then Facebook's showing it to more people. So
okay.
The problem with engagement is actually not necessarily, Sandy Krakowski knows more than me, but when your engagement is high on your page, that's organically reaching people. That's showing your page in other people's news feeds, people that are commenting and liking. That's more organic reach. Boosting is when you're actually paying Facebook to show it to more people. So I haven't heard, but I also haven't studied a ton on whether engagement needs to be high before you boost, because I was under the impression that you're paying them to show it to more people. It doesn't matter your engagement. But have you guys heard anything like that? I haven't heard that.
Well, what I understood from Sandy was if it's up, they'll show it to more people. They'll boost it to more people either way. But if you have a higher engagement, they'll show more people.
Show it to even more people?
That's like the algorithm. That's the algorithm, like even in your regular news feed. I think that's what you're talking about, right? Like even if okay, I announce I'm pregnant and 70 people like my newsfeed, whatever post, and then it just starts showing up on all these random friends' newsfeeds that I haven't connected with in years.
Right.
Like that's the Facebook way of
that organic reach. It's not you paying for it. It's the engagement on that post. It's Facebook is showing.
Oh, it's popular, so I'm going to show this to a lot of people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Heather and I were just talking about that because, funny enough, her and Christy did the call tonight, and they both were like, "Oh, we're just struggling because our pages have taken a little bit of a dip, and the posts aren't like as engaging." And I'm like, "No, that's totally normal. Mine has been down, the engagement has been down." So I've had to think a little bit, like, to kind of do a self-check. And I'm not saying it's all my fault. I think Facebook just ebbs and flows. But I kind of did a self-check of like, okay, what content am I sharing? How can I get my engagement up? And that's where I really zone in on content. What I'm posting. Am I being helpful? Or am I just like, oh, here was my workout today. Everybody, I mean, if someone was just posting what their workout was every day, would I follow them?
Okay.
No. I would not be interested to just see them working out every day. So I had to do a self-check to say, what can I do to add more value to my post? And as soon as I started doing that, started getting more comments, more people seeing it, more shares, and more likes. So if I just spend 15 extra minutes a day, if that, or like Christy showed that little Excel spreadsheet of ideas of what to post, that's huge. That's huge. That's like you not having to think much about it before. So you're saving time and your content's going to be way better because you've pre-thought it out instead of just like, I'm going to take a picture of my, whatever I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? So I try to really focus on my content when it starts to get low. Maite looks like she's sleeping.
Well, and also this time of year, I mean, paying attention to the time of year has helped me a lot too. And that, like, kind of what you're saying. It's spring break here in most of Texas. And so I don't know when spring break happens. I think it's April in Utah, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, so it's in Texas, it's spring break. And actually I'm starting to find that a lot of people that have messaged me actually are like right central, like they're like up to the Midwest and like East Coast also. Most of these people that I've reached, I don't really know how that works. I don't know if it's because of when my boosted posts are being seen by people. I have no idea why. Maybe my target, just all these people, we all have that in common. I don't know. But anyway, all I know is that it's really starting to make a huge difference when I start to post about the time in the season. I don't know. Do you guys not boost your post? Do you guys like advertise to men and women? What do you guys all do?
I normally do just to women.
Okay.
That's usually what I do.
Thank you.
What's your age category?
I do like 20 or 22 to like 45. I usually do like between my age, a little younger and older, but not anything like drastic. I don't want to really want to work with like 70-year-olds. So,
well, postmenopausal is hard because we don't know that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that.
I try to do just my age range. So range, right? Like 10 years, 25 to 45 is, well, no, how old am I? I'm only 30. So maybe 20 to 40 or something. But I also feel like half my friends and my sister is 40, so I feel like I can go up to 45 and
go up 45. Yeah.
Yeah. 45 is the new 25.
I mean, you don't want to engage some of those older folks and give them Tony Horton with the folks.
Not today, but maybe tomorrow. Does anybody else have any other questions or anything?
How is everybody finding the new Beachbody On Demand? Like, we're talking about that with people.
It's really hard to talk about for me.
I'm personally not good at sharing
to explain
until I use it regularly.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to explain the benefit of it. Like, I mean, I guess anybody who's really familiar with Netflix and Hulu, I mean, it doesn't seem like a huge, I don't know what it is, but the people that I've mentioned it to, they've just kind of like, oh, that's cool. And then like moved on to something else. And I'm like, am I not explaining how awesome this actually is? Because
you know why I think
we can get that out.
This is my theory. Everybody is so excited because it's so cheap. But we all know that your commitment is attached to money. It's attached to your pocketbook. So why are they going to want to pay a quarterly fee of $40 or whatever for something they're not really, like, there's nothing attached to it? That's so cheap. It's so cheap. So I just don't really think people care. I did post about it. I'm such more of an organic person where I was out of town this last weekend and I was with my kind of negative worker-outer sister who wanted to work out with me, not Heather. And she said, I was thinking, she's like, what are we going to do? And I said, well, I brought Body Beast. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. She was so bratty about it. I was like, okay, well, what else did I bring? Max 30. She's not going to do Max 30 because she doesn't work out. So I thought, and she doesn't like modifying. When she's doing a super hard workout, she just gets pissy and like, I can't do that, like just mean. So I thought, oh my gosh, I should have brought Turbo Fire, because I thought back to when she was in high school and in college and she loved like kickboxing step stuff. And I was like, oh, I bet she would love Turbo Fire. I was like, oh my gosh, it's on Beachbody On Demand. So I plugged it in, brought it up, And she has a thing on her TV where she can broadcast stuff to her TV. Can't remember what it's called. Google, what's it called?
It's like a Roku or Chromecast or one of those.
Chromecast.
Yeah.
So we had it up on the TV and it worked great. There was no like delay or anything. And so on my fitness page, I just mentioned like, oh my gosh, I was able to grab TurboFire and I'm so glad because I didn't bring it with me. So I'm an organic person where I share stuff as I believe in it, as I use it myself. I'm not a great salesman of launches. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Because I can't sell something that I'm not like, this rocks. So I think the more I use it and the more I travel and bring my computer and don't have to bring my DVDs and say, you know, I felt like doing a different workout today. I don't have this one, but there's a preview of it. And so, you know what I'm saying? That's how I'm treating it. I don't capitalize on launches. I really don't. And that's everybody's different, but that's me. And I haven't been able to find a way to fake my way out of that. I mean, I can be excited about something, but I'm not nearly as good of a salesman until I firmly am like, dude, like 21 Day Fix, I sell that probably more than anything else. Because
you don't have to do it that way or grow out of that either, because that's true to you and that's what you tell us all the time. And
that's the power of trying different things. That, like Christy was saying on the call earlier, she what was she saying? Oh, when people were like, I can't do her workout, she's working out too hard. That's the power of trying the easier workouts. For me, that was the power of doing 21 Day Fix, because I was like, that's like Lindsey Brin, who I love Lindsey Brin, but I had moved far past Lindsey Brin by then. I was like, I don't want to go backwards. That's like, I mean, I don't think I was being like prideful as much as I was just like, I'm like way past that. I chose to anyway, and my results blew me away because of that meal plan. And now I sell that thing like crazy, except for
why did you fit the extreme? Why did you stop the extreme? I missed that.
I just was over being skinny. Like I was just getting skinny, and I had already done 60 days of max 30. And so I had already lost some muscle that I had gained with Body Beast. And so it just wasn't true to me. It was just like, I'd already given 60 days to something to like lean me out, which didn't really happen because I wasn't eating good. But I'd already given 60 days to something that wasn't really true to me. And so to put on another 3 weeks, after a week and a half, I was just like, I'm over this. Like, I don't want to do this. I want to go back to what I love. And I don't want to just be skinny right now. I want to like get my muscle back. So it's not to say I'll never do it again. But for now, it's not what I want.
In January. Maybe we'll do it in January together. After the holidays.
I felt like I wanted to build my muscle back. I didn't want to just lose weight.
Yeah.
And I can still use the meal plan and do weightlifting and be happier. I just wasn't happy doing it. And my mojo for my fitness page wasn't there. My mojo for my challenge groups wasn't there because I wasn't doing what I loved. Does that make sense? It sounds silly, but like it affected everything. And when I posted that, I had this huge blow up comment of people like,
right.
Oh gosh, that's so great, because I was real and was just like, I don't want to do this. It just wasn't where, I mean, I even had one of my diamond coaches like, what? You think that was a waste of time? That's not true. And like, you know, she didn't think it was a waste of time. And I had other people that I was in a corporate group on Facebook from all the 5-star diamonds and above, all doing this group. And I went and took myself out of it and quit, which is like, oh my gosh, she quit. But it wasn't me.
Well, so. Yeah, because you know how long it takes you to build up that muscle again. Okay, good. I'm glad. I just wanted to know if it was like, because I've been recommending it a lot, but I don't like, I guess the same thing. I'm more of a weights person, and I'm really struggling right now. Because
I really like the meal plans. I like the meal plans. I just don't like, if I'm in a crunch for 3 weeks and I need to lean out, I would do it. But, which I should be because I'm going to Cancun in a month. But it's just, I don't want to do it right now. So
how many of you guys have all done the 21 Day Fix or 21 Day Fix Extreme?
I've done Extreme.
You done it?
Mayte's done it. Her hand isn't raised high enough.
But I haven't done the Extreme,
So, I mean, I've got like half of my challengers are doing this program, and I'm sorry I'm like taking the time away from, but like they are like all over the board, like with their weight loss, with their inches, all over the place. Like, what do you find has been the most successful approach to those in their first 3 weeks, their first round of it, who are really discouraged with like their weight loss?
You guys can answer. I'll answer after.
What do you tell people who are discouraged by their results?
Right, they're not losing as much as like they think they should be by following the portions and following. Like I've got a couple of people following this thing to a T, like to a T, not overfilling their containers, and they're still kind of discouraged about it.
What week are they on?
This is their 3rd week.
But how much have they lost?
They haven't lost like more than 3 pounds. Well, I only have 2 people right now that are on their 3rd week, and the other people just started. But one of them, she also cut out soda at the beginning of it. And I don't know how she was eating before, and I've been trying to get that out of her. She is kind of encouraged by her inches and her stamina. And so that's kind of where I'm trying to push the focus. Like, let's focus more on your inches and how you're feeling your overall improvements. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if you've seen it terribly common for people to maybe not lose as much weight during their first round of 21 Day Fix. Or is there something else? Like I've suggested, maybe you're not eating enough. Like if you're feeling tired or sluggish, if you're feeling hungry, like you got to add in another veggie container or something. Like you've got to add something in, because you might actually just be hanging on to it.
Right.
Yeah. My results, as well as the call I was on, the YouTube call with Lauren Duke, was the last week. Not necessarily the first 2 weeks for me.
Okay.
Mine was the first week, but I only lost 7 pounds altogether. It's not like, but first of all, it's like, how much do they need to lose in the first place? The second thing I consider is, are you losing inches? If you're losing inches, your body and the scale will follow. Are you following the containers completely? Are you cheating? Are you eating enough? There's so many factors. I have one girl who underate beforehand. She was like not eating enough. So her body was readjusting to eating the proper amounts of food and not letting go of things right away. So I just always try to focus on, help them focus on what they're feeling and how their clothes are fitting and their inches, and kind of not paying attention to the scale. But also, this is a journey and this is only the beginning. And if you continue on this, we can help tweak things as your body starts to plateau and say, okay, do you need to eat more? What do you need to keep your results coming? So if they're seeing results at all, they're doing something right.
Yeah, this whole process, this 21 Day Fix thing has pushed me completely to changing the entire, like when I post videos to my group, when I post and talk about what the goal is, it's completely changed to weight loss in inches to let's create these habits, and like focusing on how many days a week did you work out? How many awesome nutrition choices did you make? It's like changed my entire philosophy on how to do these challenge groups, because I realized
challenge groups are, because first I want to create lifers. I don't want to just be with people who want to lose 20 pounds in 3 weeks and then they're done. I want people who want to stay on this as a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
So my posts are all geared toward like, what workout did you do today? What results have you, I only do like a what results have you seen, like once a week, if that. Because I want people who are in this for the long haul, not people who just want a quick fix and are done. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do in my groups. And I'll work with individuals and try to get some background like you do and say, well, how much were you eating before? How much are you trying to lose? Are you losing inches? Okay, let's not focus on the scale. Let's focus on those inches you are losing. And, if in another few weeks you're still not losing, if you stop losing weight or something, that's when you need to rethink things, not if they're losing slower than they want.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. That was my thought. I just didn't know. I haven't done it. And so I don't feel confident with certain approaches because I haven't done it. And so that's where I start to feel like uncertain of myself or what I'm telling them.
What were you saying, Jenna?
I just had a group that was similar to that. Like they had really good results in like week 1, and then they either gained or plateaued, and so then they were really disappointed. And so actually what I ended up doing was I shared, because a bunch of people were sharing their before and afters in the Team Inspired page, and there was a girl, I think her name was Rachel, but she showed 2 videos from between August and December. So it was 4 months of doing it that she lost 20 pounds, and she looked amazing. And so what I did was I actually shared that, and I said, here's proof. You don't just need to do 3 weeks. Like, this is a life changer. Right. This isn't just for 3 weeks, like keep going. And I shared my pictures. I only lost 3 pounds in 3 rounds of it because I didn't have a lot to lose. It was kind of my, last few pounds and inches to get rid of. So once I shared those, then they kind of got motivated again. I'm like, oh, okay, good to know. I'm on to round 2. Like then they were really pumped and ready to keep going.
Yeah, everybody's so different. How you lose, how much you lose, when you lose it, where you lose it from. It's all your genetics. It's all like your own body. And so they say up to 15 pounds in 21 days because there are some people that lose 15 pounds. Who are those people? Probably the very obese people who ate horrifically, drank soda, smoked, whatever it was. Those are the people who lose 15 pounds, not me who if I lost 15 pounds, I would be needed to like be admitted somewhere. Like everyone's so different. So they need to remember that I focus a ton on lifestyle, a ton.
And water.
I guess it was just easier before 21 days sick. Oh, sorry, what?
I said water. Make sure they're drinking enough water.
Oh, good point.
Sometimes that gets forgotten.
Yeah, that's a good point. You guys bring up good points because before this, it was 60 and 90-day programs, so it was a lot easier for us to focus on the lifestyle habits of it. Whereas this is 21 days, and I feel like this rush to like, okay, I gotta make sure you guys are motivated and that you guys are gonna want to keep going and you're gonna do round 2. Like I just feel like this panic, like this rush, and that makes me feel a lot better that is working for you guys. So thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. I think it also depends on what they're really doing because. I mean, I had a girlfriend who she was having trouble losing the weight and complaining all the time, yet she wasn't doing the workouts right. She was going to the gym and doing her own stuff. And I'm kind of like, the results are based on the program. So if you decide to go out and do your own stuff, there's only so much I can do for you.
That was a super nice way to say that, Maite. Yeah. The results are based on the program.
If you're going to the gym and getting on the treadmill and talking your mouth off because that's your social hour, I can't really help you to lose, the pounds that you want to lose. So
it's true. Some people will say, I am following it. And I'm like, okay, well, are you adding salt? Are you adding stuff to your foods? And some of them are having so much extra sauces and salt that they're not even counting. Or they're like mounding everything over or like smushing, like, it's just, I think there's so many variables and people, my one friend, Ashley, was like, I have this lady that like, she goes to the gym, same, she wasn't doing the workouts. And she's like, are you following the containers? And she's like, well, kind of. And she's like, you're not even doing the program. So yeah, you're not going to see results if you're not doing the program. Mm-hmm. Which you would think is like, duh, but some people have to like be hit over the head. Like you kind of have to do it if you want the results. I mean, yeah, there's so many factors though. It's hard to know unless you're digging in and if they're telling the truth. Mm-hmm. So anyway.
If you have girls that want to do another round of the 21-day fix, do you continue on in that group or do you then move them over to the graduate group and then close that one down? Or
I just do it based on need. So if the group is going well and people are engaged and they're loving their group, then I keep it open. If most of the time after 30, 40 days, they'll say like, oh, we want to stay in this group, and then nobody posts. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to post to myself. So I'll move you guys over and I'll help you over there. But usually after 30 days is when we see a die-off anyway. But if they want to stay together and they're doing well, I'll keep it open.
Yeah.
Okay. So I really try to do it based on need. I don't have like a rule as much as need. Jenna, are you trying to say something?
Yeah, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Going back to the sponsored ad. So I boosted a post last week about a challenge group, and like I had the best response I'd had before, kind of like what you guys were saying, is I put more money into it because Ashley, I remember you saying that you had done that and it worked well. And I got like 4,300 views. I got a few messages, not a ton. But what do you do with people that like your sponsored ad? They didn't like my page, but they liked my sponsored ad. They didn't comment, they didn't message. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? Like, were they trying to kind of put that on their feed so someone they knew would see it, like kind of a subtle hint? Or do they want me to contact them or what?
I don't, the people who like it, I don't do anything with them. I I used to try to message my likers, the people who liked it, but then it wasn't doing anything for me. This is back when I still had, just a few hundred likes, and I would try to contact absolutely everybody that did anything on my page. And only the people that ever commented were the people that actually would move forward with anything.
I think it shows a level of commitment even to, it's so easy to just like something, but it takes more to comment, right? Then they're showing up on public that they're interested. Right. Messaging takes an even bigger effort, which sounds so ridiculous. But like, if I was truly interested in something, I wouldn't just go like or even comment. I think I would go follow the directions and message that person and say, So I think it's kind of like a working with the willing type of thing. I think you'd find, like Ashley did, it would probably just be a waste to try and spend time finding people who like it versus like the people that comment and message.
And I seem to be getting stuck with them at step 3, which I always think step 2 is kind of where I get stuck, but they're actually answering my questions and their goals and everything, which I find is usually the harder one to get out of people. But then once I share what the challenge group is about, then all of a sudden it just goes silent. It's like, this is what you wanted to know about. Here it is. And now nobody's responding to that. So I'm kind of confused.
So along with that's exactly where I was losing people. And I created a video for myself because I don't know, the thought occurred to me that these people don't even really know me that well. I'm not posting a lot of myself on my page. And so I created a video of myself posting about it. And so I actually send that to them in the same message. And I kind of pilfered a little bit of Tiffany's, like where she sends out her like application process. And so above that, I put my video and I said, and then after that, it's like, if you watched it and you liked it, then fill out the application so I can recommend a program for you. And actually reverse. So I basically have told them before I get into the whole spiel of the awesomeness of it all, like what is expected of them and what they will be committing to. And because I'm talking to them and because it's a YouTube video, I guess it's just had a better impact, because before it was just all text, all just messaging. And because of who I am, I just decided like, no, I put in my challenge groups, it's videos of me. Like I'm like speaking to my friends, I'm calling them, I'm texting them, that's what I do. So why not just put that in my first initial message? And so that's helped me a lot. Tiffany, I don't think you do anything. Like you just do text, right? Like it's pretty much just messaging. I do,
but I think that's a good idea. And honestly, I have heard people say get people on the phone. As uncomfortable as that is, for them to hear your voice, you're a real person, you care about them, you're asking these questions in person, I think is the most effective way to go, to be honest.
Yeah, it is, but it takes me an hour every time that I do that.
Yes. I think if you have someone seriously interested, for them to hear your voice is far more powerful than them seeing you type a message, for sure. If I can if I have someone interested in coaching and I get them on a Zoom call, 9 times out of 10, they sign up as a coach. Because I'm there, like I'm being friendly with them. I'm asking them questions. I'm getting to know them. And they're like, oh, she's like, legit. She's not just
a real person.
Yeah. Like I'm a real person and I really want to care about them. So, I like your idea of a video. I just do an explanation, but I also am working with everyone for my fitness page. It's a much more like, I'm a professional. I'm taking applications for people who want to do this. And
I want to graduate to that.
Yeah,
you post a lot of videos on your page.
At first, I don't even remember what I did. It's probably on the my 5-step process on the Team Inspire website, where I just asked their why and then said, here's the deal. We do a program for this long. And I did it basically the same, I guess, but it wasn't as professional sounding.
Yeah. Right. And I feel like there's pros and cons to both. Like, I feel like now that I'm starting to get more engagement on my page and I'm starting to post more of me on there, I don't think I'll have to do this quite as much, because my video is 7 minutes long. Like I'm talking for 7 minutes. And so I don't want to have to do that for very much longer, but I feel like that's the only way for right now that I can connect with people that don't even really know me. So that's just what I'm doing. Yeah, without getting on the phone. And I get on the phone. I will ask them straight up, like, would you rather I would love to get on the phone with you. If you're more comfortable messaging, I can just send you the information, whatever you're more comfortable with. I feel like I can suggest things better if I talk with you. Like, it depends on how they message me will determine how I offer to call them. But some people are just more comfortable behind the screen. And I'm finding that a lot of people that are contacting me have some sort of depression or anxiety, and that's why they're contacting me, because they can't get out to the gym, they can't whatever, so they're just more comfortable behind the screen, which is fine. And for those people that just want it, they just want the information, then I'll send them basically the paragraphs that you sent out to me, Tiff. And if they want the YouTube video, then I'll send them the YouTube video. Like, depending on who they are and how they messaged me will determine how I respond with the information.
Yeah.
And when. But I do give them the information first, because I've decided that that's just, for me, has worked better at giving people the direct, like, this is what you're in for. And because of the way that the ad was, they're not as like, oh, I didn't know this was going to cost money. Like, they get it.
Right.
So it's a lot. It's the way you do your ad is going to help how you deliver your messaging, your 5-step process.
Right. Okay. This has been long. Sorry, you guys. I hope this was helpful. It's recorded, so if you want to watch an hour-long one back, you can. But we'll talk. My husband leaves town next Wednesday to go to China again for like forever. So I may rearrange some calls here in the next couple weeks. But for the meantime, we'll plan on next Wednesday. We'll see what I decide to do.
Next Tuesday. Wait,
Tuesday. He doesn't leave till next Wednesday, so we will talk next Tuesday.
Or do you want that to be like a family night? Because either way, just let me know. Or let us know.
I'll probably do next Tuesday. I'll probably cancel my new coach call on Wednesday is what I'll probably do. And then the following week, there's a team call scheduled, and I'm either going to have to delegate that out, or I'm having Ashlyn, my friend, who's like the queen of Instagram, do a video on running an Instagram. And I may just have my assistant post that for the call that night. So I'm not sure. I have to figure that out.
Shalene podcast. That's it. I'm leaving with that. Shalene podcast. Go listen to some of hers.
Go listen to Shalene's podcast. Hey, you guys, have an awesome night. We'll see you guys next week.
Night.
Good night.